external force above the limit, then permanent deformation of body takes place. That is called as the plastic region. That means if you consider example of any elastic body, and if you apply force on elastic body beyond the limit, then permanent deformation of body takes place. Then it is called as a plasticity nature. That means when you apply force on any elastic body above the limit, then elastic nature of body is going towards the, or is changing into the plasticity property. And Hooke's law states that within elastic limit only, that means we have to apply the external force within limit. Within elastic limit, stress is directly proportional to the strain. If we increase external force, stress increasing and elongation also increasing, but both are going into the one can say in a same proportion. That is, stress is directly proportional to the strain. Hooke's law states that within elastic limit, stress is directly proportional to the strain. Now this is a directly proportional relation. If you remove the proportionality sign, then there will be equal to and constant. Then stress divided by strain is equal to constant, and this constant is called as the modulus of elasticity. And this constant is known as the, that is the ratio of stress to the strain is always constant, and this constant is known as the modulus of elasticity. And what will the unit for modulus of elasticity? You know, strain is a unitless quantity, and unit of stress is a Newton per meter square. That is the Newton meter raised to minus 2, or you can say Newton per meter square. And in this figure also you can say stress is directly proportional to the strain within elastic limit, and once the elastic limit is over, that means in the plastic region, you can say strain is increasing without increase in a stress, or small increase in stress produces major increase in a strain. Then this is called as the plastic region. That means this region is called as the elastic region, and above the elastic region this is called as the plastic region. And within the elastic region only there is a graph is a straight line. Therefore Hooke's law is valid only in this region, that is stress is directly proportional to the strain. That means stress divided by strain is equal to constant, and this constant is called as the modulus of elasticity. If stress divided by strain which is equal to constant, then you know stress is classified into three types: tensile stress, volume stress and shearing stress. Strain is again classified into three types: tensile stress, tensile strain, volume strain and shearing strain. If you take the ratio of first type of stress to the first type of strain, then the modulus is called as the modulus of elasticity is called as the Young's modulus. Young's modulus is related with the length of a wire, therefore it is called as the tensile modulus. That means if you consider this is a rigid support, one end of wire is fixed to the rigid support. Capital L is the original length of wire up to this point. When this wire is loaded by external weight, this is a cross-sectional area of the wire. When you attach weight W to the another end, one end is fixed to the rigid support, then due to this attached weight, elongation of wire takes place. Length of wire increases by small l. From this point to this point, the length is a small l, and from this point to this point, length is a capital L. Capital L is called as the original length, small l is called as the change in length. Then Young's modulus, it is the ratio of tensile stress to the tensile strain within elastic limit. Therefore Young's modulus Y equal to tensile stress, first type of stress divided by first type of strain. Hooke's law states that stress divided by strain is a constant, and this constant is called as the modulus of elasticity. Young's modulus is the first modulus of elasticity. Tensile stress divided by tensile strain is equal to Young's modulus. Then you can say tensile stress Y is equal to tensile stress divided by tensile strain. Tensile stress is nothing but force upon area divided by tensile strain is equal to change in length divided by original length. As per the definitions of stress, stress is a force upon area throughout divided by strain is nothing but change in length divided by original length. Therefore Y is equal to F upon A throughout divided by small l upon capital L. Therefore Y equal to F upon A as it is, and you can transfer this quantity as a denominator, then it will be going in the form of reciprocal. Capital L will go up and small l will be at a denominator. Then final equation Y is equal to F into L divided by small l into A. But this F is nothing but external force. Force is nothing but weight. Weight is nothing but M into G into capital L as it is. Small l as it is, and this area is nothing but pi r square into small l, which is not printed here. Small l is there. This is a typographical error. Y is equal to mg into capital L divided by pi r square into small l is also there. This is called as the Young's modulus. equation of Young's modulus, y equal to F into L divided by small l into A. A is nothing but area of wire is pi r square into small l is also there, and the F is nothing but m into G, and this capital L as it is. Therefore Young's modulus y is equal to m is a attached mass, G is the gravitational constant, its value is 9.81 meter per second square, m is attached mass, m into G into capital L original length of wire divided by area pi r square, pi is constant, value is 3.14, r is the radius of wire, pi r square into small l, elongation of wire, that means change in length of a wire. This ratio is called as the Young's modulus. Therefore once again, Young's modulus is a ratio of tensile stress to the tensile strain within elastic limit. Therefore if you consider one example of wire, suppose a wire is fixed to the rigid support at its one end and another end is loaded by external weight, W is equal to m into G, then due to attached weight, if capital L is the original length of wire which increases by small l, the small l is called as the change in length, capital L is called as the original length, then Young's modulus is equal to tensile stress divided by tensile strain, which is equal to F upon A divided by small l by capital L, which is equal to F into L divided by small l into A, and F is nothing but m into G and A is nothing but pi r square. Therefore final equation y is equal to m into G into capital L divided by pi r square into small l. This is called as the Young's modulus. Now second one is the bulk modulus. When the body is a three-dimensional in nature and the body is having a particular volume, and when you apply the external force, then volume of body changes, corresponding stress is called as the volume stress, and due to change in volume of a body, a strain is produced, is called as the volume strain. And you know modulus of elasticity is the ratio of stress to the strain, second type of stress divided by second type of strain, that is volume stress divided by volume strain. This ratio is called as the bulk modulus. Bulk modulus K equal to volume stress divided by volume strain. Therefore K is equal to volume stress, stress is nothing but force upon area, divided by volume strain. Volume strain means change in volume divided by original volume. Change in volume is denoted by dV in this equation, and original volume is denoted by capital V. Then F upon A into this will be in the reverse form. V will go at the numerator and dV will be at the denominator. F into V divided by dV into A. This is called as the bulk modulus. Again force divided by area is called as the change in pressure or pressure. F upon A is equal to dP into phi as it is divided by dV. This is the final equation for bulk modulus. Bulk modulus K is equal to dP pressure, force per unit area is called as the pressure, dP into phi divided by dV. That means bulk modulus is defined as it is the ratio of volume stress to the volume strain within elastic limit of a body. Volume stress is equal to F upon A, volume strain is equal to dV by V, dV is called as the change in volume, phi is called as the original volume. Therefore K is equal to F into phi divided by dV into A. This K is called as a bulk modulus. And third modulus is called as the modulus of rigidity or rigidity modulus. Third type of stress, shearing stress, divided by third type of strain, shearing strain. This is called as the rigidity modulus or modulus of rigidity. It is denoted by eta, Greek symbol. Therefore modulus of rigidity is defined as it is the ratio of shearing stress to the shearing strain within elastic limit of a body. Therefore eta is equal to shearing stress divided by shearing strain. Therefore eta is equal to, you know, shearing stress is nothing but F force upon area, and shearing strain is nothing but lateral displacement of a body divided by distance of lateral layer from fixed layer, that means tan theta. That means in previous one type we have studied this this one in detail. You can see here also, this is a lateral displacement of a body divided by distance of lateral layer from fixed layer. Then if this angle is theta, then delta, this side is front side divided by adjacent side is called as a tan theta, and tan theta is called as a shearing strain. Therefore you can define third modulus of elasticity, that is modulus of rigidity is equal to shearing stress divided by shearing strain, that is F upon A upon tan theta, which is equal to F divided by A tan theta. If one can say lateral angle is a very smaller in case you applied force is the tangential, therefore lateral displacement of body takes place, theta is one can say nearly equal to 0, then tan theta is equal to theta. In alternate way you can write eta is equal to F upon A and tan theta equal to theta. Therefore A into theta, you can write this way. Therefore, we have studied three types of modulus of elasticity: Young's modulus, bulk modulus, and modulus of rigidity. And mathematically you can prove there is a relation between all the three types of the modulus. In syllabus, proof is not there in the syllabus. Direct we have to see the relation. Young's modulus y is equal to 9 eta into k. Eta is a modulus of rigidity, k is a bulk modulus, divided by 3k plus eta. 3k, k is a bulk modulus and eta is a modulus of rigidity. Young's modulus is equal to 9 eta k divided by 3k plus eta. That means if modulus of rigidity of a body and bulk modulus both are given, then you can calculate Young's modulus for that body by putting the value into the concerned equation. Y equal to 9 eta k divided by 3k plus eta. This is called as a relation between these three types of the modulus. Then now we are going to last stress strain curve. What is stress strain diagram, or how the stress is varying with respect to strain? You can see this is a graphical relation or graphical representation between stress and strain. Stress is nothing but external applied force divided by area. That is, if you increase external applied force on any body, if you consider one end of a wire is fixed to the rigid support and second one weight is loaded by particular weight. If you increase the weight step by step, then stress will be increasing, because stress is equal to force upon area. A is a cross sectional area of wire which is fixed, but if you increase force or if you increase weight, then automatically stress is increasing. And due to increase in weight, elongation of wire also increasing. Strain is nothing but small l by capital L, change in length divided by original length. Original length is 1 meter or 2 meter, which is fixed. Denominator is fixed, but elongation is changing, therefore strain also changing. And as you know Hooke's law, stress is directly proportional to the strain within elastic limit. Therefore, when there is no external load is applied on the wire, then corresponding stress is 0 and strain is 0, which is denoted by point O. If you increase stress and strain, if you increase external load step by step, then stress is increasing and strain is also increasing with respect to stress, which is directly proportional to each other. Stress and strain both are proportional to each other. Therefore, I can say graph is straight line. Hooke's law is valid. P is the point P is representing the proportional limit. Stress is directly proportional to the strain. Therefore, graphical representation between them is a straight line. Hooke's law is valid. That means body is in elastic nature up to this point. Furthermore, if you increase the external load, then that means if you increase this stress by a very small quantity, then strain increases rapidly. You can see in this figure. From O to point P, both are increasing directly proportional to each other. Graph is straight line. But after this point, small increase in stress produces major change in the strain. Strain is increasing and there is no major change in stress you can observe in this graph. Then this is called the elastic point. After the elastic point, strain is increasing without increase in stress. You can see this is called the yield point. In this graph, this point is called the yield point. At this point, you can see from this point, yield point is above the elastic limit. You can see strain is increasing without increase in stress. Stress is constant, but strain is increasing from this point. Strain is increasing without increase in stress. That point is called the yield point. Again, if you increase a small stress, then strain is increasing and we are coming across a point is called as the ultimate point. Ultimate point is representing the maximum capacity of wire to bear the external load. If we increase the load above the ultimate point, then what will happen? Diameter of wire starts decreasing and the wire will be breaking at a particular point. This is called as the breaking point or rupture strength. That means graphically, if you plot a graph of stress versus strain, once again you can see, if you increase the stress, then strain is also increasing. Both are directly proportional to each other. Graph is straight line. Hooke's law is valid within elastic limit. Once the elastic limit is over, small change in stress produces major change in strain. There is one point is called as the yield point, which represents stress. Strain is increasing without increase in stress. Again, if you increase small change, if you increase stress by small amount, then strain is increasing rapidly, and we will be reached at one point of maximum extent, that is called as the ultimate point or ultimate strength. Ultimate strength or ultimate point represent the capacity of wire to bear the maximum load. This is the point, final point, up to which wire can bear the maximum load. If you increase the load above this point, then diameter of wire starts decreasing, and you can see this region, nick region, diameter of wire is decreasing, and at this point wire will be broken. That means this is called as the breaking point. That means these are the different points in the stress strain curve. Stress is directly proportional to the strain within elastic limit. Hooke's law is valid. If we increase the load or if you change the stress above the elastic limit, then small change in stress produces major change in a strain. Then there will be one point is called the yield point. Yield point represents the point from which without increasing stress, strain increasing automatically, that is called the yield point. Further, if you increase the stress, then strain again increases, and there is a maximum point, there is a point of maximum capacity, that is called the ultimate point. Ultimate point represents the maximum capacity of wire to bear the load. If you increase the load above this point, then diameter of wire decreases, and at this point wire breaks, that is called as the breaking point. That means in this graph, this is the origin, this is the proportional limit, maximum limit, this is the elastic limit, then this is yield point from which strain is increasing without increase in a stress. Again stress and strain both are increasing, we will come across the ultimate point. Ultimate point is the point which represents the maximum capacity of wire to bear an external load, and corresponding stress is called as the ultimate stress. If you increase the external load or if you increase the stress above the ultimate limit, then diameter of wire starts decreasing and wire breaks at one particular point. This is called as a breaking point. These are the different points in the stress strain curve. If you remove the external load at any point in this limit, then wire will go to the original position. But if you cross the elastic limit and if you remove the external load, then wire cannot achieve or wire cannot regain its original position. Therefore, this is called as a, one can say, plasticity region, or this is called as the plasticity nature of a wire. In this way, if you observe or if you study the stress strain curve, then the curve is or one can say the graph is straight line within elastic limit only, and above the plastic region or above the above the elastic limit, the graph is one can say not a straight line. Hooke's law is not valid above this limit. Ultimate point is the point at which wire can bear maximum load. Breaking point is the point at which wire breaks. That means wire cannot one can say bear the load above the breaking point. The ultimate point is the point of maximum capacity up to which wire can bear the load, and if you increase the load above this point, diameter of wire decreases and automatically wire breaks. That is called as the breaking point. Now we have come across the last one theory article, Poisson's ratio. Now if you consider the example, if you consider one example of elastic wire, one end of wire is fixed to the rigid support, second one end is loaded by external weight, then elongation of wire takes place, that is the length of wire increasing. Length of wire is increasing means what we can say, diameter of wire also decreasing. That means when, if you consider example of wire and one end of wire is fixed to the rigid support, second end is loaded by external weight or load, and elongation of wire takes place, means another way I can say length of wire is increasing means diameter of wire decreasing. In this graph also we can say if we apply the load above the ultimate point, diameter of wire starts decreasing and it breaks. That means I can say when you apply external load on any wire, elongation of wire takes place, that means diameter also changing, diameter decreases. Due to change in length, longitudinal strain or tensile strain is produced, but due to change in diameter, lateral strain is produced. You can see in this figure, lateral strain is nothing but change in diameter divided by original diameter. Small d is called as the change in diameter divided by capital D is called as the original diameter of a wire. Change in diameter divided by original diameter, this ratio is called as the lateral strain. Lateral is, one can say, parallel to the surface. Longitudinal means I can say perpendicular to the surface. Longitudinal strain is nothing but small l by capital L. Therefore Poisson's ratio, this is the ratio of lateral strain produced in a body to the longitudinal strain produced in a body. Therefore Poisson's ratio sigma equal to lateral strain divided by longitudinal strain. And strain has no unit because it is the ratio of same type of quantity. Strain and lateral strain is also no unit because the diameter divided by diameter, change in diameter divided by original diameter, unit will be cancelled. Then change in length divided by original length, unit will be cancelled. Then Poisson's ratio is now having is also unitless quantity. Therefore sigma equal to change in diameter divided by original diameter is called as lateral strain divided by change in length divided by original length. This is called as the longitudinal strain. Therefore, Poisson's ratio is equal to small d by capital D throughout divided by small l by capital L. Furthermore, you can transfer this equation small d by capital D upon capital L, means small d into capital L divided by small d capital D into small l. You can mathematically convert that. You can do that mathematical change easily. Now we are going towards, after completion of the theory, now we are going towards the problems based on different equations we have studied. Once again I will revise the theory part in brief and then we will proceed towards the examples. Now right from begin, elasticity is a property of body in which when you apply the external force then body changes shape or size, and after removing an external force body regains its originality. This property is called elasticity. Rubber or steel, these are the examples of elastic body. Plasticity is a property in which when you apply the external force then body changes shape or size but does not regain its original position. Rigidity is the property in which body does not respond under external force, stone, marble, concrete. Then deforming force is nothing but external force which produces deformation of body. Restoring force is the force which restores the original position of body, means the force which is regaining the originality of the body. Then these are the different factors those are affecting on the elasticity: temperature, annealing, hammering and rolling, addition of impurity, and stress. If we increase the temperature, grain size increases and elasticity decreases. If we follow the process of annealing, then grain size also increases and elasticity decreases. By the process of hammering and rolling, a single grain will be divided into multiple grains, and due to decrease in grain size, elasticity increases. By addition of impurity, if you add the impurity, if impurity is more elastic in nature, then net elasticity increases. If impurity is less elastic in nature, then net elasticity decreases. If you applied frequent stress or continuous stress on a body, then permanent deformation of body takes place and elasticity decreases. Then stress is a ratio of external applied force to the cross-sectional area or surface area of a body.